see Eileen. Are we okay? Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Princeton Planning Board. It's Thursday, March 7th, 2019, and the opening statement is as follows. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given by prominently posting the 2019 agenda resolution of the regularly scheduled meetings of the Princeton Planning Board. Such notice has been placed on the official bulletin board at the Princeton Municipal Complex and is to be maintained throughout the year by transmitting a copy of such schedule to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, Times, Trentonian, and Comcast Media. A copy has been filed with the Clerk of Princeton on the 7th day of December 2018. Legal notice of the adoption of said resolution appeared in the December 14, 2018 edition of the Princeton Packet. Could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Capizoli?
Here.
Mr. Cohn?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Ms. Sachs?
Here.
Mr. Stankiewicz?
Here.
Mr. Texarney?
Here.
Ms. Ullman?
Here.
Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Gunning?
Here.
Mr. Oakman? Mr. McGowan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right. If there is anyone here for the Landwind Development hearing, that has been carried to April 4th, and that was a preliminary and final major subdivision and site plan with variances, so it will not be heard tonight if you've come for that. Let's go on with announcements. I think Ms. Ullman had one.
Yes, I do. Thank you. What I'm passing out, I think I've got this end of the table, is the announcement of the charrette that will be held next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings here to look at and perhaps further develop the plans for the redevelopment of the seminary site. So I'm going to pass these down, and please take one. And I can answer questions tomorrow if you have other questions. And if I can say, may I just say a couple more things? For those of us who've been participating in this project with the seminary's neighbors, and Jim Constantine and Chris Cosenza from LRK, it's been a rather unusual circumstance for members of the planning board. And as a rule, well, what Jim is very prone to say is that this is a plan that's being made from the bottom up. And that's rather unlikely for us. As you know, we tend to look at applications as the law applies to them. We tend to think about whether they match the goals of the master plan. Even when we do the master plan, we're thinking in terms of sort of goals for the town. This is a development that is literally starting off with a blank slate. We know how many units the seminary wants. We know why they want them. We know approximately what the sites are on which they may occur, and that's it. So we have been, as most of you know, because I keep telling you, holding sessions that talk to the neighbors, converse with the seminary. I can't say we've had as many chances to talk to each other and exchange either criticisms or positive statements, but it's been a very unusual process for me, anyway, and I expect for the others. So I hope that you will take advantage and come, if not on all 3 nights next week, certainly the last 2. What will come out of this will be a set of measurements, conditions, arrangements that will be the foundation of the ultimate redevelopment project, which this board will become very much involved in. And I think you would find it both interesting, maybe reassuring to see how the architects, the planners, the neighbors, all of whom have slightly different but coherent goals, are coming together, I hope, to create some final sort of parameters for this. So please feel free to come on these evenings. We would really welcome, I would especially welcome having you there to cast a critical eye over the process, help those of us who've been sort of fiddling along with it right along, not always knowing exactly what was going to come out of each meeting by the end. Sometimes we're a little surprised, sometimes skeptical, but it's been a remarkably positive experience from my point of view. And I would like very much to have all of you share that and sort of be ready for the next stage. So thanks.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mrs. Ullman? Anyone?
No, I'd just like to piggyback off what she said, that, that this process has been open from the beginning and there's been a lot of neighborhood engagement, and I think that there will still be people who will be caught by surprise eventually when the plan moves forward, but I think the more that we announce and to the people who will be watching at home or watching this video that these charrettes are happening, the better. Again, I think this has been a model of engagement on all sides, and I applaud the leadership of the subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. And at some point, I hope that those of us involved will be able to sit down and maybe parse the whole experience. I think it will happen again. We may be able to make it smoother, but I guess what I come away with is the notion of to be optimistic. When you think people aren't going to agree, you find that if you're talking to them nose to nose, sooner or later, they may not agree, but at least they understand what the other side is talking about. And it's been a really quite remarkable experience. So, thanks.
All right. We have one set of minutes that was sent to you. These are the minutes from April 19th of last year. And are there any additions and corrections? No?
No. There's one more announcement we need to make about ZARC. The March 18.
Okay. It's not on my
Thank
thing.
you.
Yes, we are having a ZARC meeting at, was it 9:30 in the morning on the 18th? And the purpose of this is to go over the business signage regulations, especially to look at the proposals that have been made by the Princeton Business Association and reviewed by other groups in town. So it should be very interesting, and it's something that's been a long time coming. Any questions about that? Right now, we have minutes of April 19th, 2018.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank
I'll
you.
second them.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there are no further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now that brings us to this evening's work session, and I'm going to suggest that we all move down and gather around the table down there, so possibly we can all actually see and hear one another and understand what's going on. If we could do that? Great.
No. I guess we should adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Second? Aye.
Aye.